Red Bull Leipzig 3, Red Star Belgrade 1 in the third match day of the Champions League 2023-24 Champions League. Uh, Going to start off with the starting lineups as I usually do. Omri Glazer in goal. We had Dragovic, Giga, and Rodic as the center backs. The two wing back positions, we had Mihailovic and Mitrovic. In the midfield, Stamenic, Ivanic, and Huang. And up top, we had NDI and Olainka. So I think the biggest surprise here, I was surprised to see Mitrovic in the starting lineup. I thought he struggled with his form recently. He hasn't played apart from the Champions League. I don't think he's played that much in the domestic league. Rodic, a bit of a surprise, I think, at center back. I just don't like him at that position. Olainka, a bit of a surprise up top as well, even though a lot of people had him in their projected, starting lineup for today's match or tonight's match, depending on where you live. Mihailovic at right back, I don't really like him there either. I like him personally as a defensive midfielder or as a center back. So if he would take Rodic's spot in that center back position, I would have no issues with that. But Glazer decided to go with this lineup. Right off the top, I think the first goal was I don't want to say uncharacteristic, but Mirko Ivanic makes a mistake in a position where he can't. So he gets stripped of the ball. Three Leipzig players around him. They work it to the opposite side, which is the left side, where David Raum was by himself, and he places it through Omri Glazer's legs. So Raum was, I would say, Leipzig's best player in the first half. In the second half, I don't think we saw him once in the attacking third. We did a great job of kind of closing him down in the second half. In the first half, we were very poor in terms of really controlling him. And that's, again, an issue that you have when you have a guy like Mihailovic who isn't used to playing that position, covering that position. And that's why I don't like it. The defensive positions where you have to place a certain player who doesn't normally play that position, I hate those. That's why I hate Rodic as a center back. As a left back, I mean, as an alternate, maybe. I don't even think that he should really get that many minutes for Red Star going forward. Um, so that's something you question. And that was pretty much, sorry, that wasn't pretty much their only chance. They had three or four chances in the first half. Omer Glazer, in the match as a whole, going to speak about him very quickly. He made four or five outstanding stops today, like absolutely outstanding. There was the one that he had on a free kick that I think Jiga was the one that ended up heading it, that he got just outstretched arm that ended up getting to the ball. I thought he was exceptional today. Yet again, this scoreline could have been a lot worse today. I think that Leipzig could have had at least five, six, maybe seven goals, if not for Omri Glazer. So in the first half, and I felt like that Leipzig wasn't defensively. They're not a great team. There was a few chances that Red Star had 3 minutes in. Huang had a goal from about 20, 22 yards out that just went wide of the goal. NDI and I think Olenka combined fairly well in the first half. Our problem is in the final third, it's like we have center backs who need, a minute and a half on the ball to decide what they're going to do with it. And that's where NDI and Olenka have to be a lot better. Like they fight for the team, they give it their all, but at the end of the day, your job is to score goals. And I've said this on previous vlogs as well, previous matchday vlogs. You have to be able to score as a center forward. There was a penalty shout that Red Star actually got, and then once it went to VAR, it was overturned. It was the right call in my personal opinion. I believe that the center back, I forget who it was right now, but Lukeba, I think that he ended up getting the ball, and then on the follow through, he ended up, kicking Olainka as well, and then Olainka was subbed at halftime. I truly believe Olainka came off at halftime because of the injury. He ended up getting his ankle a little bit, getting caught up in his ankle. So I'm not surprised that he wasn't able to continue. I honestly didn't think he would continue even after the shot. But there were some chances that were created, like very good chances that we had to capitalize on. And I think once we get in and around the 18-yard box, opposition's 18-yard box, we try to get too cute and we try to look for the perfect pass or the perfect goal. I think you just got to have a shot on goal, and if it goes in, it goes in. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Mitrovic, I pointed out, was kind of out of form. I didn't think that he had a bad first half. I thought he was decent. He did some things well. I had a few shots from about 30 yards out that were nowhere near the goal, which is something that he's going to have to work on. But in terms of like mistakes and things like that, I thought he played pretty well. Second half, Osman Bukhari comes in off the bench to give us a little bit of a jolt. Injury concerns with him. That's why he didn't start this match. Obviously, he's been our best player in the Champions League. So that's a reason why he didn't start today's match. And just before I go on, if you guys like what you see, please subscribe to the channel. It means a lot to me going forward. It means that you like my content, like the video as well, which then gets pushed through more people. So I would appreciate if you guys could do that for me. So in terms of the second half, and Bukhari inserted his speed into the lineup, and that's what you like to see. Like I said, he's been Red Star's best player in the first two games. This game is hard to judge because he came on for a half, and you could tell that he was still suffering from the injury. Didn't practice much, so that had an effect on him 100%. And then the second goal from Javi Simmons, just Javi Simons, sorry. Uh, Excellent curl ball into the goalkeeper's left-hand corner. Nothing that Roman Glazer could do about it. I think the man marking could have been a little bit better, but I think Javi's so fast and so quick that he would have been able to get by whoever was man marking him. So just an excellent goal. Top corner, nothing you could really do about it. And then, Red Star brings on. Actually, I don't know if Red Star's goal fell before the substitutions when Lucic, Nedeljkovic, and Mijatovic came on, or if it was after that. I can't remember right now, but Red Star gets one back, and Stamenic scores the goal off a cross, and 2-1. And after that, it was, I felt a little good. I felt good. I felt like we could get a second goal possibly. I just think that the Leipzig backline is not that great. Like they give away a lot of opportunities, like a lot of chances. And I think this is where they missed Orban a little bit, who's kind of their leader. And I got a chance to watch Hungary as well, where Hungary had some holes in their backline as well, and Orban isn't there to kind of control everything. So you can kind of tell that in this match. Um, that he was missed. But I think that we had a lot of good chances going forward, and we could have got a little bit more out of this match. I think if we took our chances once again, like I talked about, I want to talk about the three players who came on though: Nedeljkovic, Lucic, and Mijatovic. These kids just have no fear, and that's what I love about them. Nedeljkovic being only 17 years old, Mijatovic I guess is 18, 19, Lucic around 20, 21. Lucic is just willing to dribble at anyone that's kind of facing him, and sometimes it's not the right decision, and I totally understand that. But oftentimes it is the right decision. And his ability to take on players and bring his energy to the lineup, I think, goes a long way. I've said that he's excellent as a 12th man, like a guy you could bring off the bench and get that energy out of him. And I think he showed that today as well. He showed that in past games. He showed it against young boys. And in the domestic league, I think there's a lot of matches that he could start because he gives you effort defensively as well. Still not a polished in terms of his defensive work, but offensively he's just not. He just has no fear. I think Jovan Mijatovic as well. For such a young kid, he's willing to put his head where a lot of players wouldn't put their foot, and that goes a long way too. When you look at the whole grand scheme of things, you have to be able. He's short. He reminds me a lot of Luka Jovic actually, similar built. So when you don't have the height, you have to be able to do different things. Even though he scored a game winner this past weekend with his head off a header, which was a beautiful header. You have to be able to do different things, and they kind of changed the match a little bit for Red Star. We pressured a lot more because we saw that Leipzig was prone to mistakes, and I just wish that we did this in the first half as well. We pressured a little bit, but not as much as I would have liked, and the changes from Bakar, the substitutions were all offensive, which was great too. Stamenic, I want to point out, there was a chance that he had in the second half from about 16, 17 yards out where he has to have a shot on goal. Instead, he's looking around for the pass. I understand that you're a defensive player, but when you're that close to the opposition's goal, you have to have a shot on net. There's just no excuse for it. You have to let it go. And there's a lot of backwards passing going from him as well. I think that's something that he has to work on for sure. And there was a few times where he had to make a run from about 15, 20, 25 yards out to catch a man on the break, which he did exceptionally well when he was on a yellow card already. So one mistake, you get a second yellow, and that's a red, and you're out, right? So I think he did a great job in that as well. And then the third goal for Leipzig, off a corner kick, a ball that just kind of flew all around the place, and Nedeljkovic headed it out. Leipzig headed it back, hits the crossbar, and Dani Olmo has a tap in from a yard and a half. And that was kind of pretty much the end of 3-1. Red Star hit another post, which was a Nedeljkovic hit from about 11, 12 yards out, which deflected off a Leipzig player. And of course, it hits the post. It can't go in the back of the net. which was unfortunate because I think we deserved at least another goal. And like I said, Leipzig had a lot of chances. It could have been 5 or 6, but I think at the same time we could have scored 2 or 3 as well. So next match is against Leipzig as well in the Champions League. So I'm looking forward to that match in Belgrade. But I think we've kind of pointed out their weaknesses and strengths going forward, and that's something that we're going to have to attack in the reverse fixture in Belgrade. I'm a little mad. I think we could have got at least a point out of this match if some of the stuff went down. But then you look at the other side, right, and all the stuff that Omri Glazer saved, and yeah, I think we had to do better. And the interesting thing is our back line looks a little better than what it does in the domestic league, which is very puzzling. Your defensive line looking better against better competition is truly, I mean, I don't know, maybe guys just know that they have to give it that little extra, but it's something that we have to work on as well. And going forward, we'll see what happens. We're going to be in that fight for third. It's probably going to be us and Young Boys. So getting something out of this Leipzig match and then going and beating Young Boys is something we have to do. And that's what I think. Let me know in your comments below what you thought of the match, what you thought about Red Star, Leipzig, man of the match, whatever you guys like. Let me know in the comments.